Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression. I talk about narcissism and schizophrenia, and I wrote a book, Life with My Schizophrenic Father. It's a memoir about my childhood growing up, him and my brain-damaged son, and my narcissistic mother. I talk about my unethical psychologist who I've had sexual relationships with over the years, and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I'm not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. And all I ask in turn of you is please be kind in the comments and respectful. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button down on the right hand side there. That way you'll be notified each and every time a new video comes out. It's 100% free, so what do you got to lose? Stick around, take a chance, give it a thumbs up. Please share my videos on your social media platforms with your friends and your family. And I love to hear from you. I want to know your thoughts, your opinions. They matter to me. Your beliefs, your struggles, and let's build this community slowly over time. Today we're going to talk about how to stop fighting. How to stop fighting and communicate. All right? Communication is the answer to the problem. That's what it is. But people don't know how to communicate effectively. And I'm going to tell you, because I'm almost 60 years old, how you communicate effectively. There's usually two types of people. One is they don't communicate at all. That's me. They get upset and they let these upsets sit. All right, this is what I do. This is not effective communication. And then something else comes along and they don't communicate that, and it builds up. They get another upset, and pretty soon they're stuffing all the upsets down, and then either they explode or they just walk away and no one has any idea what happened. They just leave. They just ghost you. All right, they just walk away, end the relationship, don't say anything, and the other person is completely dumbfounded because they had no idea anything was wrong, because that person who gave who never communicated, who said nothing, who just stuffed all their hurts down until they couldn't take it anymore, they never communicated. And one thing, they never said, and this was with me, with my best friend Holly. I ghosted her. I ended that relationship, and in other videos I talked about every single upset that happened in that relationship that I never once communicated. Not once. And this was a 12-year friendship. I never said anything, never communicated to her anything, and then it just built up over the years, built up, you know, stuffing, because you stuff everything down. There's only so much you can stuff down, right? Like food. If you keep eating and eating and eating and stuffing it down, you're gonna... And so the other person, now that's one type. The other type of person is a person that blows up at anything, all right? They start screaming, they start swearing, you know. They'll let you know, believe me. The least little thing that bothers them, they're going to let you know, all right? They're going to blow up at you. They're going to start, you know, cursing you. They're going to start screaming at you. They're going to stop blaming you. And that's not effective either. Like the quiet person who doesn't say anything and stuffs everything down, the person who blows up and lets everything out, that's me too. I mean, I've done that too. I do that, you know, with my husband. I have done that in other relationships too. I've been both people. I've been the person who stuffs it down and never says anything. And I've also been the person who blows up and starts screaming and swearing and throwing things. So I've been on both sides of the, you know, of the spectrum. But neither one of those things is effective. So how do we stop fighting? How do we communicate? Well, of course, everyone's going to say, well, you talk about it, all right? But this is what happens when two people who are upset, or, start talking, or one person's upset at the other person, and they try to communicate. First of all, they don't use I statements. They use you statements. You did this. You did that. Why did you do this? Why didn't you empty the garbage? You. Why did you leave the dishes in the sink? You. Why did you forget my birthday? You. See, so when you use you statements instead of I, it really bothers me when I see dishes in the sink, build up. When you use you statements, you put the other person on the defense. Okay, so the person is already defensive now. You've got them on the defense. And what do you do when you're on the defense? You attack. So that's not effective communication. So what we need to do is communicate our changing feelings and needs in an effective, loving, and respectful way. And what we need from the other person is the ability to listen. So this is the number one thing you should take away from this video, if you don't take away anything else, is the way to stop fighting is not by communicating, it's by listening. Listen to this. Listening. Listening is the answer. Listening empathically is the answer. Not just listening, because listening means I hear things, right? Listening empathically. It's totally night and day difference from listening, just listening and hearing what they're saying, to listening empathically. When you listen, let me tell you what listening empathically involves. When you listen empathically, you shut out everything in your head except what the other person is saying. Most people who listen to respond to someone. They're always thinking, this is me too. I'm guilty of this. I do this all the time. When someone is talking, I often think of what I'm going to say next. How am I going to respond to what they're saying to me, all right? So, like, if you say something like, well, you didn't wash the dishes, right away I'm thinking, you know what? I've been busy all morning. I've been working, on putting all this, videos out to grow my YouTube channel. I've been, writing on my book. I've been answering emails. I've been trying to make dinner, get dinner ready. I've been trying to, right away I'm getting defensive, and I'm thinking about my answer back. All right. Now that's the worst kind of listening, communicating there is. When you listen empathically, you're not thinking of what you're going to say in response to what that person is saying. You're just listening solely to what that person is saying and taking their feelings into account. And thinking, all right, my husband doesn't like when I leave dishes in the sink. It bothers him because, the sink is piling up and, there's nowhere to put there's not a clean plate. I can't get a clean plate out. It looks messy in the kitchen. He really doesn't like, he's very neat, and this affects him. And it just, trying to think like that, trying to listen to how the other person is feeling. All right. And responding in that manner about how they're feeling. All right. Too many people are defensive and dismissive, the 2 Ds, defensive and dismissive. And if you are defensive and dismissive, then you cannot listen empathically. You just can't, all right? You have to shut out your response and just totally focus. It's kind of like being a shrink. This is how a psychologist is trained to do this. A psychologist is trained to listen empathically. That's why they're getting the big money. Not all of them do that, though. A lot of them fail at that. But that's what a psychologist's job is. Their primary thing is to sit there and listen and take in what the patient is feeling. If you don't do this, then you're going to, resentment will build in a relationship, and a relationship just can't grow organically when there isn't that empathic listening. It's going to, be cut off at the roots, okay? So success in a relationship depends on the ability for the two people involved to listen empathically, not get defensive, not be dismissive, and try to understand where that other person is coming. And it helps if the other person tries not to be accusatory by saying you, but instead uses I statements. I feel like this, okay? I get upset when there's a mess. I like everything to be neat and orderly. I get upset when you just phrase how you feel using the I statement without pointing the fingers. You know that what they say, when you point a finger at someone, you're pointing three at yourself. See that? See these three fingers like here? When I'm pointing a finger at you, I'm pointing three at myself. See? So, no pointing fingers, all right? Let's talk and not let things build up. Don't let things slide, all right? When there's something on your mind, even if it's minor, you need to bring that up. You need to talk about it. Everyone's feelings and needs change over the years. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I'm certainly not the same person I was a year ago. Everyone grows, and we don't always grow parallel with each other, okay? Sometimes we grow in opposite directions, all right? When we meet, we might meet side by side, but then as the years go on, people can take a different path, turn a different way onto a different path, Like I said, I met my husband when I was 18 and he was 19, and we were both virgins. I'm certainly nothing like that 18-year-old girl at 59 and a half, almost 60. I have changed drastically over the years. And my husband has changed drastically over the years too. But what makes this relationship work is empathic listening. The ability to communicate our feelings and our needs, because needs change, right? What I needed 10 years ago is different than what I need now. And what my husband needed 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago is much different than what he needs now. And people have to understand that people evolve, people change, and their needs change, okay? So you can't, what made my yoga teacher's marriage not work is because her husband didn't understand that her needs had changed. They both met when they were yoga instructors, and they used to travel. They didn't have any children together. He had children from a previous marriage, but they were adults. And they traveled to tropical destinations like Mexico, Fiji Islands, and they had, were instructors of yoga, and he thought it was awesome, He had a travel companion and another yoga instructor. They loved to practice yoga on the beach in tropical settings. And then all of a sudden, her needs changed, and she wanted to become an actress and take acting lessons in New York. And he couldn't accept that, But if you're in the long haul with a person, you can't expect the person to be, exactly who they were at age, whatever they were, or at the point wherever they were when you met them. You see what I'm saying? People evolve. They're not going to stay the same. So you have to evolve with the changing person, with their because their needs are going to change. Their wants are going to change. And, you know, that man could not evolve. He could not accept that his wife was no longer wanting to be a yoga instructor. She said she hated it. She didn't want to do it anymore, and she wanted this, and he couldn't accept that, and the marriage dissolved. So you have to, another way to, you know, is you have to understand when whatever relationship you go into, whether it's friendship, I don't know what it is, you know, or romance, or whatever it is, or with your children, if you're a parent, that is. Do you think your children are going to stay like little kids? They're going to be the same little kids that you can just, you know, control? If you don't behave, no computer for you, no internet for you, no phone for you for a week, or whatever you do. I don't know. No, your children are going to grow, and they're going to change, and your relationship with them is going to change. It's going to evolve. Nothing stays the same. You see, nothing stays static. Everything is growing. Everything is evolving. So you have to communicate your changing feelings and changing needs with someone in an effective way. And they have to do that in turn with you. And you do that by empathic listening, all right? Because I can hear words and everything like that, but that's not going to, you know, if you get the 2 Ds, defensive and dismissive, that's going to shut down the whole thing. It's going to shut it down, all right? It's like putting a blanket over a fire. Going to shut it down. So you need, if you want to have a good relationship with someone and stop fighting, okay, is effective communication by empathic listening. So I hope that this video has helped you in any way. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, and until next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.